this is training trailer exercises 1 through 4. It's all one group. So we're going to go over to our training trailer exercise folder location. We're going to grab exercise 1 and sit down and read it over. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open our folder to exercise 1. Basically, just follow the directions. You're going to watch the YouTube video, which you're watching right now. We're going to go over our safety. So there's 4 different pieces that you're going to need. If you're not wearing a high-vis shirt, you're going to need the vest. Once you go on the trailer, you're going to need gloves. And you also have safety glasses, which should be always worn on the job site before you even enter. High-vis and glasses need to be worn. And then you have your hard hat. You want to make sure it has no cracks or abrasions on it. If it does, then we have to decommission it and we'll get you a new one. This also needs to be worn as soon as you get on the job site. And as you can see here, we have a border that indicates once you go through that area, you have to have all your PPE on. That's just like any type of job scenario. So next step on the directions, after we've gotten our cart unlocked and out, we're getting our tools together. The first tool on the list is your power drill with your Phillips head shank. Level to level your boxes. Flathead screwdriver, Phillips, your Sharpie to mark the studs, and your tape measure, which we'll go over in more detail next. And let's just go over the tape measure real quick. Let's go over some simple basic tape measure marks. So these are broken into 16 hashes. There's 16 marks between each inch, and every 2 is an 1/8 inch. So if someone asks you for a 12 and an 1/8 piece of pipe, you would go 2 hashes. So the way it works all the way across is 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, and then the next following inch. It's very rare someone's going to ask you for a 12 and 9/16, but if he ever does, if it's got to be precise, like if we're doing wire mold or something that definitely requires within a 1/16th, you'll just count each individual hash mark until you get to the 16th that he wants or she wants. So say you want 9/16, so 12 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9/16. Okay, so now that we've gotten our tools, let's go over and get our material. Everything's organized by exercise. So if you come over here, it's labeled Wall Rough-In Training Exercise 1. Separate sides is marked 1 and 2. So you're basically just going to take the material out, which is clearly labeled, put it on our cart, and we'll get ready for the next step. Okay, so now we're ready to install. So you'll see your drawings inside that it's referring you to. This is the side profile of the west wall, which is the left side of the trailer. And from the edge of the studs to the center of your first box, it's 52 1/4 inch. So the line, the vertical line on each one of these lines or measurements horizontally is your center point for each box. All right, so our first measurement is going to be 52 1/4 to center. So we'll just measure off the edge of the stud. Measure it off. So make sure we got it right on the edge of the stud. 52 1/4. You'll just mark right there, bottom. So you kind of get a general idea where it's at. We'll go to the next step. Okay, so as you can see, the first box is going to have a single gang ring. You'll see that on the list. That is marked. It's a single gang ring. And the first box is going to have a 3-box bracket, which is here. Basically how this works, and this is a 1900 box, is the standard box we use. It would just slide through here like this. Box ring goes on top like that. You use your drill, log it into place, make sure it's straight. Once we mount it, we can make sure it's level. So that's how you put a box on a 3-box bracket. Okay, so now we're going to look at our vertical measurement, which says it's 18 inches to center. The way I like to do it on the bottom of the stud is mark our horizontal and match up the box with the box bracket so it comes out to be the left selection. So I've already done. So now that we got our horizontal measurement, we'll go ahead and do our vertical. The drawing calls out for this box to be 18 to center. So you just go from the finished floor and mark it at 18, and that's going to match up with the indentation on your box when you mount it. Screw it right to the stud, and I always like to use a magnetic tip on the end of my drill so it keeps the tappet in place. That's pretty much it. Just screw the rest of the holes in there, put your level on there, make sure the bubble's in the middle, and then you're good to go. Alright, so the second box in the exercise is 10-foot half-inch off of the left side of the stud. And with the same thing, you just put your single gang ring, and if it doesn't, go in all the way, you got to loosen up the screw. That way you can still a little loose. You need your Phillips head screwdriver, loosen up the screw up where it fits it over, like that. Yeah, it's nice to just have a screwdriver laying around, that way you don't have to use your drill for everything. Put it together. Let's go measure the second one. Do the same thing. Double check your measurement. 10 foot and 1/2 inch. And you want to make sure your tape measure tight against the stud. 10 foot, 1/2 inch, your bottom mark. Then you would take your box, make sure you got it in the right selection for your 3-box bracket. And just like I thought, it's in the center location, so we're set up to screw it into the studs. Get it ready. So now we're going to do our vertical measurement. Double check our prints. So this one's a little different. This is 48 inches to center, which is typical switch height. So we're going 48 inches to center. So I'm using a 3-box bracket. I'll mark it on both studs. That way I can match up the center indentation. Go ahead and get your tappet set up on your drill. It's a magnetic tip like I've seen before. Good. So now that you got your left side mounted, before you screw it in on the right side, you want to make sure it's level. So you just throw your level up on top, the bubble gets in the middle. Go ahead and screw it in, double check it, and we're good to go. Okay, so the next box is a little different. It's in the same horizontal orientation, so it's going to be center of the other box, but it's going to be at 72 inches off the floor. And we're using a different type of support system here. This is called a spreader bar. They move in and out to match whatever dimension of a stud is. 16 inches is as wide as it can go on this particular one. So then the box just gets screwed directly to this wherever the center mark is horizontally. Let's go ahead and see where it lines up on this next box. All right, so we're going to mark 72 inches in the same cavity, stud cavity. So we're 6 foot, 72 inches either side. And we'll go ahead and just, instead of putting the box on first, because we don't know the horizontal measurement yet, we'll go ahead and put the spreader bar on first. That way we already know that it's on this 72-inch plane to center. Right, and this is where we measure over to make sure we hit the center mark. And you can also use a laser level, which we'll go over later in a different exercise. But what I like to do is just double check to make sure we got that 10, 1/2 inch. All right, so at the end of the stud, 10.5 inch. Measure off the edge of the stud, so it's 8 3/4. We'll do that same 8 3/4. Mark the stud there, 8 3/4. That's our center mark. And check this out. So this is where you would screw your box right to your center point. you got marks in the center of your box. You just match that up, and as you can see, the perforated holes in there, you just take your tappets, screw it right in there. And then after you get the box mounted, as you can see on the drawings, it calls out for a 2-gang ring. This is to accommodate two devices next to each other. So instead of the single gang ring, you'll attach the 2-gang ring. It's really important that you pay attention to this, because after the drywall's up, it's a really big pain to go back to the drywall guy to have him cut out because we messed up on putting the right ring in. All right, so now that we got our boxes completely installed for exercise 1, as you can see here, we'll go ahead into exercise 2, which is actually going to be running the cable between these boxes and putting in the necessary supports.